Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for just joining us today. We are glad to host this live session on how modern application manage login and sign up for millions of users on a daily basis. So today we have with us Yasin Memin, who is a senior software engineer at Board Infinity. And he has over 4 years of professional experience in backend engineering and DevOps, and also has a strong focus on designing and implementing scalable systems used across high traffic environments. He has also spoken on Google Cloud Run Day 2023, where he has presented one of the Cloud Run implementation he has built at Board Infinity. So, in this webinar, we'll be exploring how sign up and login works and how accounts are being created, and see what happens behind the scenes when we hit the login button. Okay, so get started and explore how authentication really works inside the modern application. Over to you, Yasin.
Hello everyone. Hi, I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Great. So before starting, I think Deepali has given already a brief intro about me. So let's just directly jump into the agenda. So before starting, how many of you have already worked with login and sign up systems and used in your applications? I can see if you have done, you can message or you can raise hand. So it will be a little bit more interactive session. Great. Yeah, many of you have worked, so it will be a fruitful for you all. Okay, so let's get started then. Okay, so before understanding how these things work, we'll be discovering what is authentication and authorization means. So I'll I'll explain with a simple analogy. What does authentication means is when you just want your uh, user to logged in into your system or just want to validate that this user is an authenticate user or this user is a genuine user, so you do authentication. Kind of if you take analogy from Instagram app, so you have your account there, you have your username and you have your password. When you come to login in the Instagram application, you give your username and you give your password, you just click on the login. So your request go to the Instagram server checks that you have entered your right username and right password that you have entered while creation. It matches that, and if that matches, then it gives you access to the platform. So that is called a authentication. Okay, so authorization, this is a little bit different thing. Authorization comes into a play when we want to when we want to give a multiple level based access. Suppose I have four accesses in my application. One is owner, second one is admin, third one is editor, fourth one is reviewer. So I have a different four level hierarchy with me in my system. So in this, I want to distribute accesses. Owner can access everything. Owner can delete anything. Owner can edit anything. Owner can view anything. Owner can create anything. All the access owner has. But for the admin cannot delete anything. But admin can create anything. Admin can edit anything. Admin can delete anything. For editor can only edit things, cannot create anything, cannot delete anything. And editor can view things. But for viewer can only view everything. It cannot create, it cannot edit, it cannot delete. So I have a different level of hierarchy in my system. So for to implement this kind of a system, we need authorization. I hope everyone is with me so far. Authentication, authorization, the basic difference of both. Great. Okay, so before digging into the depth, we'll be exploring basic sign up flow. So for this webinar, I kept it simple. So we'll be discussing only email and password based sign up flow. Okay, so in this thing, we'll be using for sign up. For sign up means creation of account. So to create account, you just need to put your email and your password, and you'll press create. that data will go to a data that data will go to your server. Then your server will going to create a entry in your database with this user and the password. Okay, so I'm keeping it very simple for now. I'm also avoiding the hashing part of the password. We'll be discovering those things in an advanced version of this webinar. So this is a simple sign up flow. For the login, what is going to happen is, for the login, when you enter your email and your password, your request will go to your server, and your server will going to check that this username is same that you entered while creation, and for password, it will going to match that the password is same for that user or not. If it is same, then you are allowed to log in. Otherwise, you will be refused. Is it clear? Let's go ahead. Okay, so in nowadays we have two terminologies. While we discuss about client server communication, we have two different type of applications. One is static web application, another one is dynamic web application. This is really cool. Anyone who knows the difference between static web app and dynamic web app, very basic intricacy of them. Anyone
Right.
who wants to talk?
Uh, that's basic like a dynamic website that the content which is coming from the database, and the static website just like the HTML CSS having just only HTML CSS that can be static content that can be displayed on the website, something like that.
Yes, yes, you are almost right, but there is a certain difference. Let me phrase it very well. So for the static web app, consider one newspaper website. Okay, I am opening one newspaper website, and I am getting some data out of it, some HTML data about different news are there, and some advertisements are there, different things are there in that application. I am opening that website and I am seeing some news articles over there. Okay, consider you all are also opening the same website, and you are also seeing the exact same details that I am seeing. So this is a static web application. So that static web application does not change the data based on the user, and it does not change the data based on the user preferences, or you can say it does not change the data based on any kind of a personalization. That is a static web application. So what happens in case of a static web application? User sends a user sends a request to a server, hits a URL, server will going to respond with a plain HTML that is same for every user. This is a static web application. So in case of a dynamic web application, what happens is, in the dynamic web application, suppose the same news website, but in that case, there is a login and sign up also. So that website maintains a user data also with it. So that website knows who am I, what my preferences are, and multiple things about me. What is my age, like in which age group I belong, what is my gender, and multiple things about me. So based on those things, it serves me a data. So suppose I live in some part of India, so it will going to give me news related to that specific area in top. So if you live in some different part of a world, so it will going to give you a news based on that preference. That is a dynamic web application. And nowadays almost every web application is dynamic web application. Very little are static web application that serves. So in case of a dynamic web application, what happens? User sends a request, but in this case, with the request you have identity also. So user sends its identity also with the request, because website needs to know who is sending the request in order to generate a dynamic content for that user. Then user gets a HTML based on the details. This is a dynamic web application. This is very crucial to understand static and web application, because we'll be going to talk a lot about identity today, login and sign up. So basically that serves the purpose of identity. Okay, so for auth strategies, so we'll be today talking about mostly authentication strategies. So there are two major bifurcation between these strategies. One is session based strategy. Another one is token based strategy. So we'll be talking in depth about them. Okay, so let's understand session-based strategy with one analogy that I've created. So we have a one customer and one support department is there. In the support department, we have one support rep. So customer is calling a support rep with one complaint. So there can be anything, any kind of a complaint can be there. So support customer is calling to a support department with a complaint, and what support department does is support rep creates a ticket log. It has a create ticket log with it. So support rep enters a entry in a ticket log that this complaint has a ticket number one, and return that ticket number to the customer. So what support department wants is, in all further communication after this, customer needs to send that same ticket number in order to get the details about the complaint that he have lodged. You guys are with me so far? Okay. So when customer will going to send a request, further request after this with a ticket number, support rep will going to look up into a ticket log, and it can get all the data that this complaint was about this product, this complaint was about this and this thing, and who is allocated, and all the intricacies about that complaint, and accordingly that support rep can can talk to the customer again. This is the basic analogy for session based authentication. Okay, so this is the real real world how session based authentication works. We have a user, we have a one web application. Web application is a server maintains a session log. Like in the support department, we have a ticket log. In the real world application, we have a session log to maintain a sessions. When user sends a authentication request means login request. Okay, login request sent to the server checks that is this user is already logged in or not first. If not logged in, then we have a username and password. We check the detail with the database that is this username and password is correct and matching or not. If it is matches, then we create an entry in our session log. We create one new session that this user is now logged in, and we have created a entry in our session log, and this session with this user has started. Okay, and then we send a session we send a session id to customer again. So customer has this session id. In this case, if this user is mostly a browser, like, because we talk with the web application using our browser. So this session id comes to the browser. Browser stores this session id in the cookies. Browser saves token into cookie, and every time every next request will going to send to a web application will be having this cookie, this session id in it. So every time we send like after this authentication, if we suppose take analogy from the Instagram again, I have logged in. Instagram created a session with me. Instagram maintaining a session log, and I have a one session active with Instagram. Now I want to browse my Instagram feed. Okay, I sent a new request to Instagram server that send me a news my feed data. So Instagram needs to know who am I in order to decide, because Instagram is a dynamic web application. Instagram needs to know who am I, based on it will going to send me a data. So to do that, Instagram will going to check in this session in its session log that for this session ID what is the data, what is the user data, and what all are the data we have stored. So based on that, Instagram will going to give me a data. This is a basic session authentication looks like in modern application. Before going ahead, anyone, like everyone, clear with this thing? So we'll be taking questions. If you have any doubt, you can note it down, and we'll be taking those Q&A after the sessions. Okay. Okay. So session ID and cookies. So cookies is just a mechanism that browser has to store session IDs and critical data that comes from server, and it is browser's duty to send that cookies again and again in the request. So we don't need to send that data manually in our code. It's browser's duty to add that cookie in all the further requests. So here is a one task for you all also. You use multiple application. Just after login, you need to open. You can open your like inspect and check on any network. In the request header, you can see there is a cookies header. So in the cookies header, there are multiple data that your browser is sending to your web application. I'm talking about that cookies. So this is session ID plus cookies is one of the most popular mechanism for authorization and authentication. But it also has multiple problems. That's why we have come to the token based authentication. So let's first discuss what problems it has. So consider a different scenario now. In nowadays, we have to serve millions of users. It is not like we are just serving thousands, 2000, and some few users. Nowadays, our applications are serving to millions of users. So we cannot have one web application running, because I cannot serve millions of users only via one web application running in my system. So to solve this problem, mostly what we does nowadays, we have multiple web applications that runs behind a load balancer. So load balancer is a uh, you can understand load balancer. It is just a service that distributes load. When you send a request, your request first come to a load balancer, then your load balancer based on load decide where it needs to go. That is random, totally random. It can send your request to web server 1, it can send your request to web server 2, it can send your request to web server 3 based on the circumstance. That is totally up to a load balancer and what algorithm it's running. So we are not going into intricacies of load balancer now today. So just to let you know about the problems and shortcomings about this session-based storage, I have shown this diagram. So consider user sends a request. This is a login request. Okay, I am sending a login request, and that login request goes to a web one, my web server one. So my web server one creates a session log. S1 is created. Okay, login is successful, session log is created by web server 1. Now, again, I am sending my newsfeed request, my feed request in my Instagram, you can say. After login, I am sending a different request that needs to send me a data about my account. Okay, I am sending a request, but this time load balancer sends that request to a web 2, a different web server. So what is going to happen is my session was created in the web server 1, if you see, and now I've sent a request with my identity or session ID, and that comes to a web 2, web server 2. But now web server 2 will going to check that session entry in its session log. But in the web server 2 session log, there is no entry because entry was created in the web server 1. You can see the problem, what is happening. You can give thumbs up if you're understanding. Okay. So this is the problem. So to solve this problem, there is a thing. We introduce a central cache or central session log. one more service that is connected to all web servers that maintains a session log for us. This is solving our problem in the session based authentication. But here is the catch. Why we have introduced multiple web servers? To serve millions of users and to serve that amount of traffic with very ease. But again, we have created a one shared cache that is talking to all web servers. Suppose in case of any event, my shared cache goes down or it is not working properly and that is not able to handle proper load. So again, my whole systems comes to a single point of failure. If my shared cache goes down, then my whole web server will going to not respond. So this is the main problem, that why we have started using token based authentications. I think like I have created a full base that why token based authentication requires. Okay, so let's go into token based web application, token based authentication strategy. So to understand this, we have one JWT. Full form of JWT is JSON Web Tokens. In for token based strategy, we use this JSON Web Tokens. Okay, we'll be talking about that. So in this case, what happens? We have one user or a browser simply, and we have one web server running. User sends a request, sign in request with username and password. What web server will going to do? Web server will going to check in its database, is this user sending a right username and right password or not? If it is sending a right username and right password, then it will going to do something. Yes, right password was there. But what web server does in this case is, web server directly sends all the details about the user in the request itself. Previously, we were sending only one session ID, and we were creating one session log in the server to check all the details about the user there. But in this case, suppose we are sending all the details about the user to user itself. But and what we are expecting from user is, every time after this login, whenever you want whenever you want to request any protected route, you need to send your details that I have sent you with your request every time. So after this, user is sending request with its details. So web server can check, okay, this is the detail about the user, and it will going to respond with the data accordingly. But there is a issue with this thing also. So now we are relying on the user. That user will going to send us data about himself or herself. So there is a problem. User can also change or manipulate that data. Suppose in Instagram, so while I logged in, Instagram sends me the detail about me, like what my preferences and all the critical details that requires by Instagram. So it sends me, and in the next request, I manipulated that data and changed that data to different any other's user ID, so I can access any other's account also, because what data I am sending further, server will going to respond accordingly only. So I can manipulate data and I can do a lot of things using this thing. Okay, so to solve this problem, we have JSON Web Token. Analogy is same, that user's data will going to be with user, and user will going to send that data in the request itself. But we have one problem, that user can manipulate that data. So to prevent this problem, so user cannot manipulate that data, user cannot change that data, we have JSON Web Token with us. So JWT provides us this capability that user cannot change, you cannot change or cannot modify that data. Okay, so JSON Web Token, JWT stands for JSON Web Tokens. It is a stateless protocol for settling claims between two parties. What does stateless means? So nowadays, almost when we use token-based strategy, we are entering into a stateless protocol. Like server is not managing any kind of a state with the user because server is not creating any kind of a log for that user. Server does not know who the user is, so there is no entry with the server. So so server and user have no states maintained between them. Previously, in case of a session based strategy, there were one session maintains between both of them, so that session was a stateful session. In the case of token based strategy, we have a stateless protocol. There is no states maintains between both the parties. So it has been heavily used for authentication and authorization due to its secure nature. How it is secure, I'm letting you know. Okay, so JWT, mostly what happens is when in case of a JWT, we just send that token that we got from the server to the request, and we got the data. This is a secure communication. Why it is secure? We'll come to this. So just to let you know, JWT uses RFC 7519 protocol. You can search about this and learn about this more after this session if you want to. Okay, so here is a good analogy to understand this thing. Okay, we have a client, we have a server. Okay, how this JWT login flow works. Client sends a login request with email and password to a server, and then server checks if this user and password is right or not. If user and password is right, then server creates a JSON web token. Okay, one token just server creates, and then server sends that token back to client. Okay, client got the token, and after this, whenever client wants to, so after this, client is going to store this token in the cookie format or in a local storage in the browser. You can store this JWT in the cookie inside cookies also, or in your local storage of your browser also. In both the places, in the both the places you can store. It's up to you. And then whenever you want to access any protected route, so with the request you send JWT to the server. That same JWT that you got from the server, you will going to send that JWT with your route with your request, and then your server will going to check that this JWT is valid or not. How it is going to check is, so in case of a JSON web token, what happens when server creates a JSON web token, it creates with one specific key, one secret key that only server knows. And when any request comes to the server, it can check with the same secret key, is it a valid JSON web token or not, or is it hampered, or is it changed after sending to the user. If it got changed here before sending the request, this is going to come as not valid JWT in the server side. So if it is valid, then only server will going to allow the access, and server will going to send the protected data to the client. This is how JSON web token flow looks like. Okay, so this is the example, one of the example how JSON web tokens look like. So this is a one JSON web token. In case of a JSON web token, we have three parts you can see. One is in red. All the parts are separated with the full stop. Okay, one part, and this is the second part that is in different color, violet kind of a, and this is the third part. This is in the blue. JSON web token has three parts. Okay, first part header, second part payload, third part is signature. So payload header while creation of JWT, server can set any header, and payload also whatsoever the user data, that all the users related data that server requires, use that server put that data into a payload option. So whenever this JWT again comes to the server, server can check what is payload, what is the payload inside this. And signature is the secure part of the JSON web token that server creates while generating a JWT with the secret token that only server knows. If you change anything in this JSON web token, its signature will going to change. And whenever this is going to the server, and server will going to perform valid check on that, it will going to come out to be not valid. So that is how JWT login flow looks like. Okay, so there is a one site, jwt.io. You can open that site. You can paste any JSON web token there, and it shows you what is the header in that token in a simple. So this JSON web token is in base 64 format. Okay, so this is the normal text that we can read. Algo type, what algorithm is used while generating this JSON web token. So its name is HS256. Type JWT. What is payload inside this JWT? So server sets this payload set, like subject is set, name John Doe, and its expiry is set. So multiple things are there. This is the signature. This is the secret kind of a thing. This JSON web token has. So you can play with jwt.io. Note down this website. You can go to that website and play with any JSON web token. You can put any token and you can see what payload that token has. And you can try to change this signature and again try to paste it here. It will going to pop up like it is not a valid JSON web token. Great. So this is how creation of JSON web token looks like. Header plus payload. Normally what you want to store, this is the thing that server decides, that what user details you want to store inside JWT, and one secret key. Using this both thing, JSON web token creates a signature, and using signature JWT is created, and JWT gets sent to the client. And when client sends again JWT to the server, so what a server does is server checks. This is the JWT that server got. Server will going to check how server will going to generate again the original signature. How this is going to get generated? Server knows the header plus payload, and server knows the secret. So server generates again one test signature, and it compares test signature with the original signature that is coming from this JWT. If this both matches, then only this is the valid JWT token. Otherwise, it is not a valid JWT token, because header plus payload plus secret always gives the same signature. See, while signing, I also created a signature using header plus payload plus secret. So this three things gives me the same signature via using of a one algorithm. This gives me a same signature, and I send this signature in the JWT to the client. And while client sends me that JWT again, I create again that signature, and I matches that signature that I just created with the signature I got from the client. If it matches, I proceed with the login, or I proceed with the protected data. Otherwise, I'll going to refuse the attempt of this request. This is how signing and verifying looks like in the JSON Web Token. Great. So this is how normally we compare. We check test signature is equal to signature. Like this test signature, generated signature is equal to the original signature. If it is equal to, then we just we conclude that that data is not been modified. User is authenticated. If it is not matching, then data has been modified or some malpractice has been done on that token. So we stopped the user over there and we logged out that user. Great. So I'm done with the explanation. I hope you guys got the idea and just about the login and sign up flow using JWT token.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Yasin. It was a very, very wonderful session and delivered in such a clear and in-depth way. And you explain the concept in very simple like language so that it is helpful for the student so that they can build their projects using this uh, login and sign up thing. Also, thank you all the participants for joining us today and engaging throughout the session. Also, we'd really appreciate if you could fill the feedback form, which will be shared just after the session on the WhatsApp group, as well as I'll be sending you the link over the chat also. And if anyone has doubt, they can just raise their hand. I'll unmute them, and then they can just ask doubt to ask.
Yes, I think Somadeep has some doubt.
Hi, Yasin, everyone.
Yes.
Um, so I have one doubt. Just .NET 10 is arrived. So side by side, some packages are changing. And nowadays, if you, I have doubt regarding the full stack development path. Now,
Okay.
in many enterprise solutions, they are using front end in a different framework, right? Like React and Angular or Vue. And in the backend, they are using ASP.NET Core Web API. Now, suppose so there is a big code base that is already developed, and there is need some changes or adding some features. So for that, you can help me to know what is the right procedure to read a code base, like controller to service or controller to API to service or controller to model class or service. That's the thing I need to know.
Okay. So, matlab, the thing is, this is the very wide question, and this question does not have a very particular answer, and it can depend to a person-to-person thing. So, just to share my personal view on this is how I go reading any code base to understand is. I think you need to first understand all the models because once you understand all the models, so all the schemas of that database, what all the schemas are there, then it is very easy for you to understand all the controllers and routes. First, dig dive into basic schemas, and or you can pick one route also, one very starting route, very starting flow of that application. From that route, you can pick all the schemas and you can explore all the controllers. I hope it answers, Somideep. And one more thing that you can do is nowadays cursors and this this AI tools makes this task very easy. So what you can do is just give a command to your cursor or your AI chatbot. Help me understand this project, and it will going to give you a full summary of that project, from where it is starting, from from which controller all the flows are starting, and how schemas looks like. So it will going to give you very good summary. It can ease your task.
Another thing, using AI development, sometimes AI gives you wrong error codes or
No, no,
viable
no. I'm
codes.
not. So I'm not asking you to generate code right now.
Okay,
So you just said you just wanted to explore the code base first. So to do that thing, you can use the AI.
okay. And another thing, I need help regarding career path, full stack career path. So right now, what is the best framework career path, like React with .NET or Angular with .NET?
So you are
Based on the
you're
market
asking me.
market
Okay.
demand.
So you're asking me, so for backend, you have kept one constant .NET. So you are
Yes,
just asking me front end, na? React
yes,
versus Angular.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay, I would prefer React because almost all the enterprises are nowadays using React.
Okay, okay. And now, is Angular also a good framework like Angular 1820 is
It
latest?
is good. Like, matlab, I'm not debating about is it good or
Okay.
not. The thing is, like what people and what companies are using.
Because I before actually used React, but sometimes some teams or open source contributors they choose Angular, and I don't know Angular.
Very few of them are using Angular.
Yes, majority I
Almost,
have seen React
if you
and
see,
Blazor.
yeah, React is there, Next.js is there. Mostly these frameworks are being used.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay,
Uh,
thank you, Yasin.
thank you so much. Yeah, we can go ahead with Sunil.
Sunil
Yeah.
Jain,
Hi,
you can
Yasin.
unmute here.
Hi, Sunil. Yes.
Yeah. So I have one doubt. So we storing data in browser like cookies and local storage. So what are
Yeah,
the
we are
difference between both them, and which one is the best approach?
okay. So we are storing that JSON web token in the browser. We can store in any one of them. So it depends on your use cases to use cases. Ideally, cookies are more secure because it's like little bit uh, like tough to access cookies from the local storage. And in some applications, you require local storage because that serves your purpose. Like you need very specific kind of a thing to do with that token. So you can store in your local storage also. So that depends on your purpose of that time.
So so in
Both
both
are safe.
situation, they are
Yeah,
storing
in
in
the
browser
browser.
memory,
Yes. Yes, yes, browser memory. Yes.
local storage, and cookies. What?
Yes, yes. In both the cases, it stores in the browser only.
Okay.
That is the
Thanks.
reason. That is the reason. Mostly people says to you like, don't share your browser with anyone because your browser has almost uh, every cookie and every token for all of your sites, all of your private sites.
Hmm.
I hope
Okay,
it
fine.
answers,
Thanks.
Sunil. Yep. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Sunday.
Yeah, hi.
Dish. Yes.
This is Siddesh.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for the section. Thank you for the moderator and everyone. So I would like to ask, I joined the section a little bit late. I'm sitting in Africa anyways. I joined the section a little bit late. Are we going to have recordings to the section after now so that we can
Yeah.
watch from the beginning? Those
Yes,
are
yes.
used.
We'll be sharing the recording to all the participants just after
Oh,
this session. Yeah.
all right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Siddesh.
Yes,
Uh,
it is. Go
yeah,
ahead.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have a doubt regarding JWT.
Yeah. Go ahead.
If sometime that JWT have a expiring time, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Almost every time.
Yeah, we can set by backend, right? We can
Yes.
expire 1 year, 2 months, 6 months, based on
But
backend.
good practices is to set as low as you can.
No, actually, in e-commerce applications or website, based on user appearance, we can set for 6 months. But if we keep for one day, if that
Mm.
token will expire, how we can handle in front end?
So it got automatically handled. How is like when you send a expired token to a backend now,
Okay.
and when backend checks validity of it, it sees it expired and it is going to give you a 401 error or authentication error just in for that same request. And when you get the 401 error from the backend, you just redirect users to a login page automatically.
Okay, if the token is expired on that time only we can check. On that time
No,
we
you don't need to check. Front end does not check is token expired or not. Front end sends the request to a backend
okay.
for anything like for doing any task that is normal to the user. So when token expired, backend will get to know now. Well, when backend is going to check validity of that token, is it
Yeah.
valid or not? Because for every request, backend is checking that token is valid or not.
Okay.
If it sees it is not valid and it expired, so backend sends a for one error code to the front end. And when front end sees this error code, front end redirects users to a login page.
Okay. 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 Thank you.
Yep, thanks. Ibad, I think. Dipali, can you please unmute
Yeah,
Ibad?
can you please unmute yourself? Can you just unmute now? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, yes. So my question is related to session-based strategy. That is this strategy used currently or it's completely obsolete nowadays?
No, no. It is being used because it is like there are some things that already some applications are using it like so that developed like multiple applications are previously developed using this strategy, so those are using it, and mostly modern applications that are being developed now it is using JWT and token based stateless implementation.
All right. So the second question is related to JWT that you showed whenever you will like paste the JWT in the JWT's website, it will decode the whole token. So
Not yeah, it just shows you the payload of that and headers of that token.
all right. Okay. So that's from my
So
side. Thank you so much.
but the thing is you cannot manipulate that token. Once you manipulate that token signature got changed and that token got invalid. This is the
Okay.
beauty of JWT.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. I am Zelalem
Yeah, Zalalem.
from Ethiopia. Thank you for the session. I just want to ask a simple one. I typed
Yeah,
in
go.
the chat box. So using the protocol automatically enables you uh, to make millions access your service, or do we need a special infrastructure in addition to the protocol?
Pardon, like I didn't get your question properly, Zalalem.
So
Can you please repeat?
we use the protocol, but do we need any capacity with infrastructure? That means the server capacity to enable millions use our services.
So you're talking about which
Oh,
protocol first?
the JWT protocol.
Okay. So
We use
JWT
it, so
protocol. Okay, okay. I
yeah.
got it.
Is that clear? Okay, okay,
Yes, yes, is
okay,
it clear? So JWT
okay.
protocol just gives you a better strategy to maintain your sessions or authentication strategy. It does not like gets you like capacity to host millions of users. It or you can say is like it contributes to your services that you can maintain a millions of users once you have a capacity and that much of servers running up. So if you have that much of capacity, so your login and sign up flow will not going to be hampered that thing.
Okay. Okay, I see.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Salane.
Sonia, do you have any doubt or you're just by mistakenly raising that?
Uh, Another at current job market, can you suggest Yasin some projects as a personal project? So could I build some AI-based applications with .NET or only full stack projects are enough for now? It's a just a career guidance.
Okay. So you want to build projects.
Yes, I want to build projects. So which kind of projects will stand out in nowadays?
Is it better? Mm, if you really want to make good projects now, so try to build like real world use cases. Like if you
Okay.
see any problem in any flow or
Mhm.
anything, try to build a real world project and a real world application for that, and try to launch that also. Because once you go to user now, then only you can see how many problems and how many things comes to that. Because while you build a hobby or project just to showcase in your resume, you does not focus on the intricacies and different things.
Okay.
So for me, the better idea is to find a problem, like any problem that can be there. Like you can just simply make a like chatbot kind of application that uses chat GPT behind the
Okay.
scene,
Yes,
or
using
any kind of
OpenAPI.
a, yeah, any kind of a thing. And just not make the simple thing, try to make some features that any user can buy also from
Okay.
that.
Understand that makes the difference from the existing project.
Yes, that is the real thing, and you can showcase in your resume also, and that is all. That is going to vet more for you.
Okay. And last question, is there any hackathons or any other things uh, going on your organization, in your organization, like hackathons or open source contributions your organization is accepting? So I'm interested to and actively looking for participating kind of hackathons or open source contribution in software development.
So, Nidip, currently we don't have any such like hackathon running, but yeah, soon we are planning to host a hackathon. So we'll be sending the emails and messages to all the participants, all the students.
Okay, thank you, Deepali.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yasin.
Thank you so
And
much.
yes, thank you.
Thank
Have a
you all
great
for
weekend.
joining and staying with us till the end. We truly appreciate your time and engagement. And also, we'll be forwarding all the recordings and PPTs to all the participants to your registered email ID. Until then, keep learning, keep growing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much all for listening patiently.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Yasin.